Practicing to improve our skills as jazz guitar players, we're probably spending most of our time on arpeggios and hitting the right notes at the right time and what scales go over what chords. But really the most defining character of jazz is rhythm. In this video I'm going to go over an exercise that's going to help you develop your rhythmic vocabulary. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, about improvising over changes and analyzing chord progressions, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. The idea behind this exercise is to limit the amount of notes that we can play over each of the chords. Because if we only have a few notes available, then that's actually already forcing us to be a little bit more interesting with the rhythm that we're playing. And it's also going to help because if you only have a few notes and you make sure that they're easy to play, then it's easier to execute whatever rhythm you can come up with. The progression that I'm using in this video is a blues in G. And the three notes that I'm using on the G7 are B, D, and E. And I'm taking these notes. I don't want to take an arpeggio because really I want to have three notes. I want to have it so that it's easy to make melodies with them. And also it's really going to be three notes, so I'm not going to use other octaves either. I'm just really going to stick with the three notes and try to see what I come up with that, and then move those through the changes so that I have material that I can use and I can easily keep the rhythmical idea going even if the chord is changing. So I'm starting with B, D, and E here in the 9th and 7th fret. And then I'm just going to sort of voice lead that motif through the changes and try to come up with something that's really close and really easy to play and really in the neighborhood of what I'm already doing. So that means that I'm using this for the G7. For the C7, well, the only thing I need to change is really just the B to a B flat, so. And then back. And then I can go to G7 altered in bar 4 by using an E flat and an F instead of the D and the E. Then we have C7 again, C sharp diminished, and back to G. For the E7, have B, D, and then the flat 9, the F. For A minor, C, D, and E. And for D7, altered, C, E flat, and F. And then back to G, and then D7 altered at the end. If I take those notes and then play them through the progression just as quarter notes, then I have this. Of course, you want to check out this material so that you can easily play it over the blues, and then start using it as sort of a small three-note scale that you can improvise with. You can also just get used to it by having sort of a static G7 vamp and then just try out with the first three notes and see if you... And then just see what you come up with, and in that way try to improvise a little bit and then try and take it into the blues form with the other notes and all the other possibilities that I just went over. If you think about this way of playing, if you listen to like some of the early Jim Hall and also Barney Kessel, you'll find that they do things like this really a lot. It's kind of coming out of more sort of swing era phrasing. So that can also be a place to start looking if you check out some Lester Young, for instance. But for me, especially the Barney Kessel and the early Jim Hall is really where I'm getting these kind of ideas from. And it's crucial really for your phrasing that you have more rhythmical ideas than just playing 8 notes all the time. And it's also going to help your 8-note lines because it's going to help you play with some more interesting accents within the 8-note lines if you can hear and feel these rhythms when you're playing, even if you're playing everything full of 8 notes. Once you're a little bit more familiar with the 3-note patterns, which I don't think is going to take you too long, then you can try and improvise over the form. And that could sound something like this. While that might sound a little simplistic to your ears, you can still take that way of thinking over into your lines when you're playing with a more normal vocabulary. And that could sound something like this. another useful way to take this concept and then learn some new rhythms is to just take one rhythm and then find a melody that you can play with those 3 notes that sounds kind of okay, and try and take that through the changes so that you can really hear how it sounds through the entire form. So if we take just a simple rhythm like, and then if I move that already, if I have this rhythm, then I can move it to C7 like. So if I do that through the form, that sounds like this. And while you're checking out the rhythm like this and just taking it through the form, you can also easily transition into just using it as a source of inspiration for whatever other ideas that you get. And if we take another rhythm, so if I work with this, I'm just going to start working with that one through the blues, and then along the way I'm just going to leave it more open and try to see what other rhythms are here. And that sounds like this. Working with this really limited amount of notes and also making sure that you choose them so that they're extremely easy to play and that you can easily move through the changes is giving you a lot more time to focus on the rhythm and to come up with some more interesting rhythmical ideas. And I think that's a really nice concept and also a nice exercise to work with, because we really do want to have interesting rhythms in our solo. If we're just going to be playing from the 1 of one bar to the 1 of the next bar with only 8 notes, making sure to hit the chord tones, then the solo is going to get really boring to listen to. So you do want to have some rhythmical interest in there, and whether you want to have them as accents or as sort of more chopped up rhythms like we're playing here, that's of course up to your taste. Of course, I'm also interested to hear if you have an exercise that you use when you want to develop some new interesting rhythmical ideas, or if there's a way that you try to introduce this into your playing. So if you have a good exercise for this, then please leave a comment. I think that's something that we all want to check out. I know that I do, at least. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar and this is the first time you see one of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. I publish a new video every Monday and Thursday, and I've been doing this for quite some time, so there's already really a lot of material on my channel. If you want to help me keep making all these videos, then check out my Patreon page. I have a small community of people over on Patreon that are supporting my videos, and that's really what makes it possible for me to make all these videos every week. I'm very grateful for that, and if you join me over on Patreon, I can also give you something in return for your support. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and until next week.